In life, sometimes we need to call it a quit. Sometimes we need to give up. Sometimes we need to sell the dip, not hold on to the dip. So today we're going to be talking about footballers we need to give up on coming up to the next season. Now this may sound harsh, but it's a sad reality. Let's start off with Jack Grealish. Long ago, there was a time where Jack Grealish was genuinely unplayable, the heartbeat of Aston Villa, a player who constantly drove forward, demanded the ball, beat defenders, and made things happen in games where his teammates looked ordinary. That version of Jack Grealish was special, not because he was flashy, but because he was effective. There was a level of bravery that he played with. You could tell that he believed in every action he took on the pitch. You could also tell that Aston Villa's game plan was give the ball to Jack Grealish and move. But then came the 100 million move to Manchester City, a record-breaking transfer with record-breaking expectation. Instead of this man leveling up, this man leveled down. Jack Grealish became a system player in a machine. He lost the chaos, the unpredictability that made him so hard to defend. Under Pep Guardiola, he became more passive, more cautious, and ultimately less involved. Pep Guardiola literally turned this demon into a house dog. All bark, no bite. Here's the frustrating thing about Jack Grealish. He was bad at Manchester City, but he wasn't that bad. He was just way too tidy. He was way too tidy. He was way too disciplined. He kept the ball really well. And for a player like Jack Grealish, that's really bad. He didn't take risks. He didn't go at players. He didn't dribble at players. He didn't take on players 1v1. The reason why we love Jack Grealish is because of that. He forgot all of that. He threw that in the trash. All he does is hold the ball and pass the ball back. And for a player of his profile, tidy is not good enough. He needs to be messy. He needs to go at players. He needs to play like he used to play at Aston Villa. You are not brought into for 100 million to play it safe. You are brought in to change games, and simply, Jack Grealish hasn't done that consistently at an elite level at Manchester City. Everyone now regards Jack Grealish as one of the biggest flops in Premier League history. Everyone has now seemed to forgotten his name. Even for England, the fans, I remember Southgate. They hated Southgate. They wanted to crucify Southgate because he didn't play during the Euros, or he didn't come on enough during the Euros. But now, ain't nobody looking at Jack Grealish. There's not a human being, a single soul in England saying, hey, let's get Jack Grealish in the next England squad. Not a single person. His form, his sharpness, and frankly his ambition all seems to fade. He looks content, which is great for his personal life because he's getting money, but devastating for his football life. The depression of not playing has turned Jack Grealish into an alcoholic to the point where there should be a betting line on how many times Jack Grealish would get drunk in a week. Jack Grealish is the prime example that certain football clubs and certain coaches will destroy you if you don't align with their system. Jack Grealish sure did achieve things at Manchester City, but the reality is he achieved them as a side piece, as a system player, not as the main guy, when everyone thought that he would be at Aston Villa. Now the guy is 29 and still has a career, but we going to Everton, dog. We going to Everton, and let's back this shit up. It's over. It's over. We're being sent to football purgatory. At the age of 21, 25, I would understand. But at the age of 29, we're being sent to Everton? Football purgatory? Let's back this shit up, bro. Next up is Saudi. Let's learn Arabic, buddy. Number 2, Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati's story hurts because it represents something that we all want to believe in. That raw talent, if nurtured nicely, will lead to greatness. That a kid who burst onto the scene at 16, scoring goals with the confidence of a seasoned professional, will naturally evolve into a world-class footballer. But life and football doesn't always follow the script. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a basketball player. Look at me now. When Lionel Messi left Barcelona, the club handed Ansu Fati the number 10 shirt. It was symbolic, it was hopeful, and in hindsight, it was probably unfair. No 18-year-old should be asked to carry the weight of one of the greatest footballers of all time's legacy at Barcelona. Straight after he leaves, they didn't wait a season, they didn't wait 2 seasons. Straight after Lionel Messi left, they gave Ansu Fati the number 10 shirt. And that is deadass the biggest pressure of all time. But Ansu Fati wore it, not just on his back, but in his face. The pressure, the expectation, the comparisons, they started to suffocate the joy out of his game. And then the injuries came, not just minor knocks, no. Serious career-altering injuries, knee injuries that kept him out for months, repeated setbacks, missed development time. For a young player, especially who relied on explosiveness and agility, that kind of physical breakdown was devastating for him. The sad reality of Ansu Fati is that what we're witnessing right now is not a drop of form. It's a player who's trying to rediscover himself, physically, mentally, and emotionally. His confidence has clearly taken a hit. He hesitates where he used to drive forward. He passes passes where he used to shoot. It's not cowardness, it's a mind of a player who doesn't fully trust his body anymore. Here's the reason why I gave up on Ansu Fati. The loan to Brighton was supposed to be a lifeline, a fresh start in a less intense environment. But even there, Ansu Fati struggled to impose himself. De Zerbi's system demanded energy, fitness, sharpness, and De Zerbi himself is a D-head manager, and that will push you hard. Now, if you're confused on why I'm calling De Zerbi a D-head, just look at this recent Marseille clip. Yeah, De Zerbi is something else. Ansu Fati simply wasn't there. Even De Zerbi came out and said that what he's producing is not good enough. And now he's at Monaco. This might be his last chance to revive his career because Ansu Fati is no longer the future. He is the past trying to catch up at the age of 22. Now, it's not too late for him to rebuild a career, but we have to let go of the idea that he'll be a world-class talent. That ship might have sailed. Matter of fact, that ship has sailed. That ship is in China and we in Hawaii. And number 3, the last one on this list, the saddest one on this list. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to cry. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have never cried before in your life, well, you're about to cry. Get ready to cry, because the last person we're gonna have to talk about, the last person we're gonna have to give up on, is Dele Alli. There are a few stories in modern football more painful than the rise and fall of Dele Alli, because this wasn't just a talented player. Dele Alli was generational. He broke onto the Premier League as a teenager and played like a veteran, scoring, assisting, dominating big matches with confidence that felt unstoppable. For 2 to 3 years, he was one of the best attacking midfielders in Europe, let alone in England. His link-up play with Harry Kane was elite. His goal output, his intelligence, his time runs, he was world-class. He was Bellingham before Bellingham. He was supposed to be what Bellingham is right now. But the fall from that level was so sudden and so complete that people still struggle to explain it. One day he was world-class and the next day it was, what the hell happened to Dele Alli? One day he was starting in a Champions League final and the next day Lamela is starting over him. The Lamela. It wasn't just form, it was a complete breakdown in progression. He stopped improving. The fire, the edge, the commitment, it all disappeared. Whether it was because of the fame, the injuries, or off the field issues, or the loss of motivation, Dele Alli became unrecognizable. Managers came in and went. They all tried to reignite the flame. Pochettino, Mourinho, Nuno, nobody could get through. Mourinho even dropped this fire quote.
I was 20 and today I'm 56. Time flies. Time flies. And I think one day, you will regret if you don't reach what you can reach. There is a huge difference between a player that keeps consistency and a player that has moments. And that is what makes a difference between a top player and a player with the top potential. I'm not expecting you to be the man of the match every game. I'm not expecting you to score goals every game. I want just to tell you that I think you will regret it. You should demand more from you. Not me demanding more from you. Not me. Nobody. You. I think you should demand more from you.
And then came the most difficult part, his childhood. In his emotional interview with Gary Neville, Dele Alli opened up the trauma he experienced growing up, things that no child should go through. And then suddenly everything started to make sense. The anger, the detachment, the inconsistency. It was never about football. It was deeper, it was human. It was because of his terrible childhood that was burdening him. And because of his terrible past, mentally it started to mess him up. And when you're not there mentally in football, you're really not there. What we're left with is now a player who's trying to heal. He is 29, still hasn't played competitive football in nearly I don't know how many years, even though he plays for Como, but there's report that Como want to get rid of him. And at the age of 29, this man is considering retiring. The sad reality is that sometimes we want the fairy tale come back so badly that we forget how rare they are. While it is possible for Dele Alli to still play in Europe, we have to face the truth that the version of him that lit up the Premier League is long gone. And that's okay. Not every talent fulfills its potential. Sometimes surviving is enough. And for Dele Alli, maybe the win is simply finding himself again. Anyways, that's all I got. Please like, subscribe, and goodbye.